Good evening, everybody. Welcome, as ever, to Building Blocks. Now, slight forewarning here, which is that I've just done some sewing on this particular top of mine, and it looks pretty nice, but it's under a lot of tension to the back there, so if it comes undone, we're going to be very close to breaching Twitch terms of service. We'll see how that goes. But other than that, that bizarre little aside note there, today we're working a bit more on the pact system. So previously we got parts of the UI working, and before that we were working on other stuff, and it has considerably improved since. Crop top? Yep. Very crop. Significantly, distinctly more cropped than when I bought this several months ago, but such is the ravages of time, I guess. Kieran? What? I'm not following you there, Milo. Okay, so we no longer have the button up here if we don't have... Yeah, I tested rewards a lot. We no longer have the button up here if we don't have an active pact. So, step 1, talk to the witch, eat our deviled egg, hit begin pact, and now we, in fact, have one. And currently, I've just set all of these to be wait 5 seconds, but we can see all of them. So if we continue to go through them, then it'll just tick over. All of them are just on wait 5 seconds, so we're just like leveling up automatically here. But I have implemented a lot of different criteria, so let's go have a look at those. And yes, Para, I see that. I'll be right there in a moment. One of the pact thingy is Kirin. Yes, we're not working on the Kirin pact today. We're working on the pact system. And then we'll be able to work on other pacts. Right now, it doesn't make much sense to make multiple pacts if we're still changing the data values of how they work and such. So, yeah. But, let's see. The pact criterions that we can have currently are breeding animals, brewing potions, changing dimensions, consuming items, never, killing things, being killed by things, going to a certain location, traveling through the never a certain distance, placing certain kinds of blocks, sleeping in a bed, taming animals, and updating every tick, which is what we're using for the timer there. So you can have that be as a kind of guarantee, or you can just have it be a timer, which is what it's most commonly used for. That is not all of the different criteria that there can be, but it is definitely the most bulk of them that I can do before I have to start getting really fiddly. These are pretty much all of the different events that I can actually tack on with events. So for instance, ticking is just living update, sleeping in bed has its own like thing, taming an animal has its own thing, placing blocks, all these sort of things have their own actual like forge events. Not a lot of the other ones that we're familiar with for advancements do. So consequently, there's a limit to what I can do before things get really fiddly. But that is the progress on that, so we've got a whole ton of stuff now. Previously we just had to keep killing pigs and whatnot. Now we can just set it to say level up every certain period of time, which is very convenient if you want to have a very laid back, I guess, kind of patient. A patient of sloth, maybe? Who knows? But what we're working on today is the endgame consequence, as it is so frequently called. The endgame consequence is what happens when you reach the top tier of your pact, and it is meant to be a kind of... how do I put this? A kind of, you have given your patron so much, like, energy and power and whatnot in return for the power they've given you, which is a relatively, like, tiny bit. Now they're... like, now they have an actual, like, impact upon the world. So, consequently, they are able to do some potentially Ragnarok-esque kind of things. So, for the Witch, that is unleashing the Changelings. For the Kirin, that is a large variety of things, but especially the addition of the Lightlings. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff as well. It also tends to mean that you'll occasionally encounter them wandering around the overworld and whatnot. Assuming they weren't there already. But it is a configurable thing. It is not hard-coded, or it won't be, I should say. And so consequently, we need to actually create that, and then we need to actually create how it works. So with the witches one, it happens at every single location where you previously leveled up. So consequently, we need to have a metric, we need to have a measure, a list of all the locations where you actually leveled up, which means we need data storage for the endgame consequence. And we're just going to start off with a very simple one here. So let's just create ourselves a new thing. So new enum. I'm going to call this enum packed consequence. Or packed endgame. That might be a bit better. Endgame is definitely a term that's gained some very distinct inferences, I guess. But so let's have changeling, let's have lightling, and then inside of packed, private final enum packed endgame, which can be null if we don't have any of those. But for right now, we're gonna say that we go with the changeling one. Your yips are at 69.6 thousand. Nice. Lightlings sound so cute. They are fairly cute. They're sort of like a cross between a lightning bolt and a soot sprite. And if I can detect it, they'll show up where lightning strikes, and also if you, like, cut down trees in a forest biome after you've hit the endgame consequence of the Kirin Pact, they'll appear and start hurting you. Because it's their job to keep the forest protected and such. They're very cute. I haven't determined yet if you can catch them in bottles or whatnot, that seems cruel, but... okay. And then in Player Pact, we're going to need... we've got the ID, we've got the pack level, now we need to actually have private mpt tag compound for packed. What was the quest? Packed log, I guess. So let's just store that as well. Because the pact is functionally like a quest log, so I guess it seems... yeah. Seems well at the moment? Oh, good to know. All I can imagine is tiny little ball lightning. Essentially, yes. That's essentially what a lightning is. This dot packed log. And up here, this dot packed log equals compound log. There. I should no, that should be fine. I was about to say I should probably break that down further, but considering this is stored inside of the player data, that's fine. But okay. So, now when we increment and we hit our end game, well, now every time we go up, in fact, not just only when we increment, we need to actually, like, do stuff. So, from that, we're going to need, we're gonna need a value. We're gonna need a function out of an enum packed endgame. So public void stored in log, I guess we'd call it. Entity player R1 player packed R2 packed data and packed R3 packed. There we go. Below. Just stick that right there. It's gonna get a lot more complicated from there. So there's our packed log. We're gonna need that. So get packed dot endgame is not currently available inside of here because we made it a private. So let's make it something we can retrieve. and let's also have a Boolean value, just so we can skip out of this if there isn't one. You did not try to see if this strange seed item on your desk tastes good? Yes, I would be very happy to know that, Para. Wonder how they'd interact with ours magic are, given how mods work, probably not at all. Okay, so if get packed dot has an endgame, get packed dot get endgame dot store in log our player entity this and get packed. At that point, we probably just want to actually grab the packed part. At that point, we've used it like 4 times, we might as well. And just for good measure, let's have that return an MBT. Just so I can make sure it actually gets where it needs to be. Oh, right, no. We need to get this a log then, don't we? Em said he didn't do odd things from time to time? No, quite the opposite, in fact. There. So, the player, the pact, the data of the pact, it should be perfectly able to store all that stuff. Good. Alright. And let me see, the next thing we need, obviously, is going to be another variant of this, which is do stuff when we hit the peak. So, perform endgame. Would I have you anyway? Any other way? Would I have any option? So, let's see, back to player pact. When we hit the final level, which we already check as of our criteria. So if level is lower than get packed, get max level, then yeah, you do that. If it is equal, on the other hand, when we check our criteria, so if par 1, well, this dot packed level, I should say, equals get packed dot get max level, then if get packed dot has endgame, I'm aware I made a typo there, then get packed dot get endgame dot perform. There. Okay. And once again, I feel like I should just make packed itself a variable there. If you have to call it more than once, then you might as well store the value. Just make things easier. Narrow?
Treat for the yip. But which yip? Also, pride, transgender pride.
Yeah! Maybe that's why I'm wearing a crop top on stream today, who knows? But it's definitely a treat for that yip. I'm sure Pixel appreciates. Okay. So, now if we go to here, we can, let's see, have some sysouts, make sure these are called. Storing data for endgame. This. And performing endgame that. Okay. So now if we boot up, we should see all of that happen as we're going through. Wearing a crop top because you want to wear a crop top. You're not wrong. And because I literally just finished sewing it and I want to make sure it actually like works. Still fits. Because previously, the back here was like clipped with this little pin, and it was wearable but unpleasant for long periods. So I have actually clipped it and sewn it together again. And now I just need to make sure it actually holds. Because boy, would that be embarrassing. Okay, so give you guys the... Actually, you guys aren't going to be able to see anything happening. It'll be no difference there at all. Okay. So, begin. And we're just watching down here. Okay, storing packed data. Good. That's free storages, that's good. Performing endgame. There you go. Except we see that twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 performances. Okay, there is some tweaking then. Some little things. Yeah, my outfit is actually surprisingly summery and like light today. For what reason, I have no idea. So let me see. Does set criteria have a check for whether we're local or not? Pretty sure that's only called by the server, but you never know. Let's just make sure that's actually only called server side. Should the deviled egg maybe give a haunch of hunger given the warlock is eating it? It could. It certainly could. I can add that as a data value. But it also needs to be usable basically whenever, so there's that to be considered. Right, so there's that. I feel like this is going to need to actually be a list of significant variables that we can just iterate through. So, let's grab ourselves that. Packed and games. Plural. And private static class packed end game. Or interface? Yeah, that must be an interface. And then, instead of just having these values, we can actually just register them, more or less. What would be anesthetic clothes that look like leather but are really just cotton? I almost feel like that might exist already. Okay, and let's add ourselves a map as well. You know, cotton jeans exist? Yeah, it's entirely possible. Okay, so then I want register endgame. And give it a name. And what is your problem now? Can't go. Oh, right, because it doesn't return it. Yeah. So endgames.put name endgame. There. Okay. So if endgames.has contains key. It's different. Some things say contain, some things say has. It's kind of annoying. Name in return endgames.get name in else return null. Okay. So now, over in our test pact over here, where we're currently just saying changeling, we can say pact endgame, and we can say that we're gonna just grab the one from pact endgames. Did I not make that public? Oh, because it's not static, of course. What is your problem? Was this not public? Did I make? Oh no, wait, that probably didn't. Okay. There. Now what's the problem? Right. Theoretical next problem is that those functions don't exist anymore. Inside of player packs. Yeah, those don't exist. So we need to move those from here to there. Getting absorbed in my coding here. Which reminds me. Excuse me. Me. Carol's still here, everybody. Would Lightning's art go in Central 2 or modding? I guess theoretically either. Probably slightly more modding than Central 2. Slightly. Okay, and let's add lightnings as well while we're here. We evidently have a pattern here of making creature-based endgames. So there we go, changeling and lightning endgames. And we can pick whichever one we want just by changing off what our input resource location is here. And it should still work. So, we can get rid of enum pact endgame now. I don't think anything references it. Yep, all good. Okay. Let's see if I've broken anything in 5 minutes. Ooh, you got the variable number of eyes in there, Milo. Ooh, pretty. Okay. That should work just fine. So essentially what it's doing now is it's determining if it should do anything when you level up and what, based on a particular variable that is stored on the server and is then able to determine what should happen. Like, it just repeats that process. So, yep. 1, 2, 3. We ideally want the full 5, but Yeah, I'm seeing 2 endgame parts. We only want one of those. How are we seeing 2? That's the weirdness. Pretty sure increment level's only called server side, but you know. It wants to be consistent. How am I doing? I keep... The most annoying thing of this entire lockdown is that I keep having so many ideas for things to sew. Like, I did this, and like, this might be the fastest piece of hand sewing I've ever done in my life, but I keep having so many other things I'd like to sew, but all of the fabric stores are closed. I can't go buy materials, I can't go buy interfacing, I can't go buying thread. Couldn't actually, in fact, afford to right now, because the benefit system has been colossally overwhelmed, and even people who are already on the system are still not able to get their stuff, me included, so I'm about a week overdue here. We did not get alerts on this, so there wasn't anything I could do for budgeting. So, yeah, that's fun. That's real fun. Thanks for that, UK government, but that's politics. Okay, so let's also grab the endgame here. Because again, if you're calling it more than once, you probably need to put it in a value. So if, let's see, get level? Yeah. So this dot packed level equals packed, so max level. Okay. So many ideas. I mean, the pattern that I've been using for Carol's hat is literally from an Etsy store called So Dessiné. Like, there are many puns to be made on that. Okay, so far we have gotten a thing that we can have happen every time you level up in your pact, and that thing can be specifically delineated into whatever it needs to be. I just swear I saw a whole bunch of stuff happening there. Hang on. There was a... I swear I saw, like, a whole ton of stuff saying changeling in here, but apparently I have just imagined that. What if the lightling's eyes float around the orb and they follow you around? So, like, it's an orb and then there are eyes just on orbits. So, like, biblical angels, I guess. That'd be interesting. I don't know if I want to see that. But it certainly would be interesting. Oh, I know what happened. I didn't close the old one. That's why that went weird. Okay, but how many did we get there? 1, 2, 3, 4? No? Okay, well the log's been a bit mixed up. That's why. Some people might be squeamish. Yeah. What is it? Trypophobia is a fear of large clusters of holes, especially in human bodies. Scopophobia is the fear of being stared at and such. But also various forms of eye horror can be quite upsetting. I know that's a big problem for Fuzz. So if you really wanted to be particularly strange, you could set the criteria for a pact to be kill creature N, and have the rewards for hitting that level, for hitting the preceding level, be spawn creature N. So you just murder it until it's done. You can have it be like a full-blown arena system essentially. Okay. 4 storages and 1 perform. Good. Very good. Now, in theory, we could ask the endgame system here to also set it at 0, which is the first step in your pact, but that will, especially with the witch, most probably be in the Feywild anyways, so it's not really vital for us. And I don't know if you should necessarily face consequences that early. But who knows? Like, the point where you first started your pact might also be like an actual meaningful, significant thing. But thankfully, because this is a heavily coded value and not a configurable value, we could actually just have that be straight up a we could actually just have that be programmable. It's like, are you in the Feywild when the Changeling Pact's endgame is activated? Answer, yes, then skip. Do not store that position. Because there's no point putting Changeling Hives in the Feywild. But let's see, set pact, there you are. So if get pact dot has endgame, but imagine making a pact with the witch would have a big consequence. Yes, absolutely. The consequence in question being, in fact, the changelings. So when you make a pact with the witch, it starts jotting down the locations of all the places where you actually started doing that. So in this case, we're gonna actually store our position here. So we need an NB tag list. So locations, we'll call that, equals par4 log dot has key positions, then par4 log dot get tag list positions. I think it'd be 10. I think 10's the value for compounds. Otherwise, new NB tag list. Okay, NB tag compound. Okay, so it jots down all the locations where your pact's leveled up, and then when you complete it, the endgame sets the block there to be a Feywild Rift, and then spawns a couple of changelings and a whole ton of creep and such. So those are then chunk loaded, so they are active whether you're nearby or not, and actively trying to grow. You can, of course, try to get rid of the rifts and whatnot, and that is entirely feasible. But obviously they're not going to be too happy about you doing that. So to do if player is in Feywild, skip adding position. Let's detail something out. Create position tag, and that would be par1 player dot position. So locations dot append that. There we go. Okay. say that like summoning the changelings is a bad thing. I mean, the endgame consequences aren't necessarily bad things. They're also not necessarily bad things for everybody. Basically, you stand on your own hubris if you make a pact with the witch. Yeah. Like, there's the witch endgame, which is the changeling hives. There's the Kirin endgame, which is going to get wood out of forests is now a lot more dangerous. There's any number of other end games we could add that don't necessarily have to be harmful. They're just meant to be like, here is the end product of your association with an eldritch being for power. Like, generally speaking, warlock pacts are rarely positive in the end's results, but doesn't necessarily mean they all are. Some patrons may be quite nice. Some patrons may be practically just deities, just good-natured deities, but a lot of them aren't. Okay, so let's grab ourselves the world. And let's also get ourselves our list of locations. And some patrons may be coercive creeps. A lot of them are, in fact. Me at Lightling's free dogs. The woods are full of free electrifying doggos. Get position from tag, locations.get compound. Okay. And if world.is air block at that position, let's set the actual block to be something else, say a piece of glowstone. Or a sea lantern. Let's go with a sea lantern for right now. Okay. So now if we move around a bit whilst that's ticking over, then we should be able to see how things go. That should be our first sign that things are actually happening. I'll be kind of amazed if I've done this whole thing in like the first hour of the stream. Not sure exactly what to do for the rest of it. Morph mod into a changeling, become witch kids? Yeah, it's a possibility. Become a literal well child? Yeah, if you want to live the well child, like, gameplay experience, you are perfectly able to. Okay, so, no pact. Go in here. Let's start the pact out here as a start. So there's that one. And that's another. And another. And another. And right here. And there we have it. So, based on the places where we were, then the things got placed. And they're only doing that once. If I break this, it won't come back. It only happens when they go up, or it should. Good. Yep, grand. It's not constantly placing them. That's grand. Okay, and there was 5 as well, which is even better. So, currently we don't obviously have the Feywilds dimension. We could just make it check to see if it's only the overworld. There's an idea. But okay. Let's try and make things a little bit more complex. So for the Lightling one is going to need to be a lot more significant, because that needs to be essentially something that's triggering over on the server constantly. That needs to be constantly running so that it can detect things. So for that, we're going to need a bit more complicated stuff. So if one player dot dimension does not equal 0. Return. Just return path for log, I guess. Yeah. Or alternatively, we could just wrap that in branches. That'd be much easier. Okay, make lightlings? Maybe. But okay, so we've determined that works. So currently it just sets sea lanterns at those positions, but later on we can actually set the rifts and whatnot. And now for lightlings. Do we need to store any information for the lightling endgame? Not necessarily. Maybe just the first one? I guess it's a question of how we want this to go. But the perform endgame part we need to actually stick as being part of the world. Which is then a little bit more complicated. Oh, right, of course, yes. Just gonna have it actually spawn a few changelings. We're also gonna have a few changelings as a treat. As a threat. Okay. Let's see if that works. Is it really a threat if one knowingly goes into a pact with the witch? I mean, depends how everybody else is. I guess it depends on how your reputation bears out with them. Obviously, if you complete the end game, then we should set your reputation with the changelings to be very high, like maxed out probably or close to it. You won't be able to tell them to move their hives, but they'll be there. And you will at least not be, like, aggressively attacked by them, that kind of thing. But that's not to say that you'll be perfectly fine forever. I was about to say it looks like we've lost a fair few changelings, but no, it's just because I can't see them currently. There we have it. Whole bunch of changelings loosed upon the world. And these are the kind that you can always see the disguise of. So it's not quite done there. So in that last little bit then, for endgame, we want to set the reputation of this player. So plus reputation, faction reputation, there you are. Hey Deki, how you doing? Set player reputation, power 1 player, changeling to, let's say, 80. Aaron, how you doing? Yeah, max is 100, so let's... I go down here. Helpful is starts at 60. Let's say it's at 70 then. That should mean that as soon as the as soon as all of the tiers finish ticking over, we actually see the changelings that are in the pens actually reveal. What are the lightlings gonna look like? Very close to how you've drawn them, I think. But I will ping Dave because they will probably have a better idea. So that should mean that we're actually then seeing a whole ton. And let's just get rid of that for the time being. Just to reduce the amount of clutter we cause. They're just gonna be a little cube. Oh, inside of Minecraft. Who knows? We'll find out in about 10 minutes. See you then. And welcome back, everybody. So, we have gotten parts, at least the bulk actually, of the Changeling endgame working here, and we are just trying to see if the reputation part works, which is the part that makes it so that people who specifically finish the Warlock pact with the Witch will actually be able to see the true forms of Changelings, because they'll have high enough reputation with them. Now, what we've already got is that every location where you advance your pact, it gets marked down in your data, and then when you finally hit the full like end game point, it will in fact set some sea lanterns around. There'll be rifts in the final version, and spawns a few changelings around that area. Now, for the purposes of this, I do need to get rid of a few because they're all over the place here, and we need to actually be able to more clearly see where they are. So, apologies, everybody, because there's about to be a lot fewer changelings around. So TP at E type equals the rod changeling. RM equals, we'll say 6. Blub, 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 blub. There we go. There's still one. Stop looking at me like that. No, it had to be done, I swear. Just don't look at me like that. No, come on. This is a test world. We have to expect sacrifices to be made in the name of science. Okay, fine. I'll just take the egg and go. At least I didn't accidentally whack baby trans today. Of all days. Which should be glaring at you. I mean, in spirit. Which doesn't currently have a AI value, and like AI enabled there. Oh, I went fox form today, apparently. Changeling can't even believe you. Yeah. Okay, so in a little bit there. We should see a whole bunch of things over here happen. Yeah, nice. Okay, so there we have it. Because we have completed the Witch Pact, we can actually see them. Good. So the next thing, in addition, of course, to setting the sea lanterns, is, well, the sea lanterns, the rifts, the hives, and whatnot, is determining what kind of hive there should be at that position. Also don't need that anymore. Entity changeling will be here. Just wanna cut out that line. Just for right now. Chicken changelings so tiny? Yeah. They are very small. Very small. They are not badly changeling, but they are very small. It would be interesting if they actually, like, progressed through different disguises as they got older. That'd be entertaining. But that could also be very obvious. If you're staring at your chicken pen and one of them suddenly turns into a sheep. That could be pretty overt, I feel. And we need to balance very much functions with degree of stealth accomplished, because the changelings are very much about being hidden and disguised. Okay, but yeah, that is basically all the changeling section. That endgame is fine. I feel like we need something else going on here. Like maybe we set the weather in the world to be thunderstormy. Actually, that should happen when you like complete the lightning one. Come to think of it, we should definitely have that happen here. Add weather if that's to add lightning. We don't need that. Well, we might need we might later, but So let's check command weather and see how it works. Clean rain of thunder. Okay, so here's the thing we need to do here. Set thundering on the world info. Right, we just gone from that. Okay, alright. Imagine fighting someone in hell and you punch them and suddenly you're in the void. That's more or less what happened to Dave once upon a time. Imagine Doggo Changeling? I mean, that's just straight up the thing at that point. Why are you so nervous? I mean, I'm currently programming a thing that makes it thunder when you complete the Kirin Pact. Why are you so nervous? Oh, about Dave looking at your doodles. I mean, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Dave is good people. Dave is very good people, actually. Dave will actually probably appreciate it because they've been having a bit of a rough week. Okay. So storing data, yes, again, I'm not sure 100% we need that. We could spawn lightning. We could add a lightning bolt wherever you progressed your pact. There's an idea. Yeah, sure, let's do that. Let's keep this theme of these locations being significant to the end game. XYZ and effect only. Effect only? What is it? That's related to Elender. If not effect only... Oh, then it sets fires and such. Okay, yeah, no, we're gonna allow that. We're gonna let that happen. Ah yes, entity lighting bolts. I remember that first pan out may have squealed a bit when I reblogged it. Oh, I mean, let's be real, there's some very, very low standards before I start reblogging stuff. Does it include me in some tangential fashion? I will genuinely reblog it. I have contemplated having, actually having standards for art, but I don't really want to do that necessarily, because I'm A, not the best judge of art, and B, a lot of people have a lot of, enjoyment for my stuff, so I don't really want to dismiss anybody that does artwork. Artwork, writing, you know, anything, really. Isolation stuff has messed up my sleep schedule so bad. What's a sleep schedule? I may have woken up at, 4 or so this afternoon. What's a sleep schedule, Precious? Okay, so that gets us to the locations. That'll just spawn some lightning. Also, let's go over to our pact, which is currently just getting changelings. But let's add lightning instead, because then it'll engage this one instead of that one, and we can see exactly how that looks. Did wake up 10 minutes before stream? Only a couple of hours or so. was trying to, I want to do like this sewing, but then I realized that the fabric that this is made of is actually so incredibly stretchy that my sewing machine can't actually sew it. Because it can't actually pierce through it on the bottom side to actually loop the underthread. I can make Kieran, that'll take a while. Let's start with this, shall we? Okay, so now, instead of the Changeling endgame, we've engaged the Lightling endgame. Let's see how that goes. See, everyone's hidden because I'm now a different account, so I can't see all the stuff that's going on. I should not start this pact in here because there's people I'd like to not die. Just love Kieran. That's fair. Kieran is wonderful people. Okay, wanna be cautious here because I might just get struck by lightning in a second. Ooh. Okay, things did not happen enough, which means we have things to do. We have code. Yeah, we reached the levels, but we didn't actually get our lightning. Okay, so add weather effect. Not sufficient. Spawn entity. Sufficient. I could name them as well. I don't know what happens if you spawn a named lightning bolt, to come to think of it. If you die to a named lightning bolt, does it show the name in the chat? There's a question. Sleep schedule is shifted into your weekend sleep schedule, which is you will not be able to sleep until like, well, I have been having trouble sleeping before 6 at this point. Like, I'm messed up. I've been trying, but also I didn't see it thundering, so I wonder what's going on with that. Yeah, back to command weather. Would it despawn at all? I mean, lightning bolts don't last very long. Like, a couple of ticks at most, I think. I mean, it's happening on the server. It's about the only side it could happen on. So why aren't we seeing any weather? There's the question. This will either work, or it will crash crash the game. One way or another, we'll find out. Spawn a Jeb lightning, we'll just get hit by rainbow lightning. Taste the rainbow, mofo. That first year, it's hard to not put a content creator on a pedestal, so a squeal from someone reblogging fan art is perfectly natural, but I'm not cute for it. I mean... Okay, take 2. Actually, I'm just give myself a table leg, can't I?
Our struggle as artists isn't about appeasing the crowd.
I can't see the packed screen. In creative mode, but also I will not die if I'm in creative mode. Oh, actually, no. No, we're in a plane, so we should be able to see.
That way isn't necessarily a thing you achieve.
Nope, we've already reached it. Okay, I wonder if it's because I've got the weather cycle turned off. I wonder if we can't see lightning if the weather cycle's off.
This all comes from an understanding that ideas aren't static, but fluid, like water.
I don't recall at all if the pack data is stored. If I log out and log back in, I'm just gonna reboot. So that's about the only thing I could think of as to why we might not be seeing it now. Like, we should be seeing lightning. We've seen changelings be spawned, so we should see lightning be spawned. Let's find out. But yeah, at least from the position of an endgame player, a player who's at the end of a mod pack and whatnot, not being able to get trees out of forest biomes is probably not a huge concern, nor the lightlings in and of themselves, really. But on a multiplayer server where not everybody's that like advanced and whatnot, might seem to be a little bit more of a problem. Okay. Apparently we've done it, but apparently nothing happened. Let's see, weather... Thunder. Okay, so that can do stuff. Okay, we'll do weather cycle false. Can we still see thunder now? We can, it's just eternal thunder. Okay. Summon lightning. Didn't hear a crack, but we definitely saw the lightning there. Also, I'm kind of curious here. Let's see, custom name Hemsworth. So if I die to Hemsworth the lightning bolt, I'm curious what it says. Probably also help if I took off the ring of regen. Nope, just says I burned to death. Okay. Hello. But now we know that I just burned to death. Slash effect MP fire resistance. No, just says struck by lightning. Okay, doesn't have a value for if there was a named entity involved. So it won't say like I can't have it say anything special unless I create a special lightning bolt. Think you would have to die from the actual hit, not the fire? That's exactly what I just did. That's why I put on the fire resistance effects. But okay, now we know. Alright, so there's a mystery afoot here. Namely, why aren't we seeing our why aren't we seeing our actual like values here? Why aren't we seeing that happen? So I should do that up here, because that's probably valuable. Okay. Let's see. Let's do some sysouts here. Struck by Hemsworth, yes. I was like, what's a good name for a lightning bolt that isn't just 4? See, why are we not seeing the world actually do stuff? Well, there's an idea from Mojang, I guess. What would adorable smell like in your opinion? Good question. That's a tough one. Probably sweet. Like relatively sweet, fairly light. Like not necessarily not necessarily overpowering or offensive to the nose, but probably fairly like, oh yeah, I recognize that. Like the smell of strawberries, I guess. It's about the best thing I can think of. I wonder if I should just have a utility function to set the weather. Because that's probably gonna be a recurring feature here. Okay. So level 1. Level 2. 3. And 4, but we don't see anything happening. Which means it all happened client side. Interesting. That also makes no sense because this is very clearly on the server. This is the server thread. Let's see. Yeah, various oddities log did that. So then it didn't do that? So is that why it's not setting the weather then? Because it's on the client side. Mysteries deepen. I forgot you had purple hair dye. The urge to dye your hair since you're stuck at home is strong. I need to get my roots done. But firstly, that's expensive, and secondly, yeah, the hairdresser is not open. Want to shave your own mohawk so you know how you feel? Oh dear. I know. I want to see like, there's a lot of hairstyles that'd be interesting to try. Except that I've spent literal decades growing my hair, and I don't really want to spend that time again. Like, I don't want any parts of my head to regress to when I was, like, 12. This plot is so thick. Okay, let's try this once again. I want to get this working, because we want to be able to spawn lightning bolts, because they're very dramatic. And let's be honest, warlocks and warlock patrons are always very extra. And we also want to be able to set the weather, because that's a great signifier of something big done happened. Nothing happened there. Okay. This is very interesting. I wonder why this is. And, as the case may be. We know our reputation was being set. That's because it calls our proxy. Curious. I mean, it shouldn't... If it's getting the server, it shouldn't be able to... that should only exist on the server side. Hair's growing long because you don't have a razor to shut up? I mean, I have a razor, but it's not for my hair. Well, I guess it's for some kind of hair. Okay, so what's going on here? Additionally, we didn't have any locations happen. We know that code's fine because we used it to spawn the changelings, though. I wonder if it's that. I mean, it should still be doing the weather part, but... If you can't figure it out with one sis out, then figure it out with 15. The fuzz stage of hair is great? Yeah, fuzz has great hair. It's very soft, very lovely. So we've got a ton of data down here. Marking the positions, how many positions have we marked, which side we're actually performing this on, when it's actually saying the thunderstorm, if it's trying to spawn the lightning, all of that. Let's see how this goes. Like it spawned the changelings, and they were there when we got back in, so they weren't client side, they were stored in the data. So they were real. They were real boys. And boys, girls, and probably a whole lot of other things, really. There's a thought. Do changelings seem to have a strong attachment to gender? Okay. Level 3. Next stop. Endgame did not get performed. Interesting. Oh, I misnamed it, that's why. Okay, now we know what's going wrong. It's not calling any of those functions because I misnamed it up here. Should be that. because that's what we're actually putting in here. I just called it lightning. How long have I just spent chasing a bug that actually probably didn't exist? Aye. Figures. Figures. It's always the way. Changeling at gender. Yeet! Gender would be that weird bug a chicken changeling ate last week? What was it that Fuzz said in that one Mating Do episode? I mean, you're gonna have to be a lot more specific. Also, I don't think Fuzz was ever romantic at me in the Mating Do episodes, because Mix Hayes in Mating Do was not remotely involved with the maid. Well, involved. Like, they were obviously, like, involved, but not involved. Okay, now we should actually see lightning. Oh, and the bloopers. Oh, so like the end of it then. Okay, there's 2, actually. 3. 4. Here we go, hopefully. Well, we didn't see the lightning, but it presumably happened, and we are in a thunderstorm now. Do I have, like... Oh yeah, I have weather turned off entirely. So it probably just made that invisible. You gonna hear any thunder? Yes, we are. Yep, we definitely saw that. Okay, that worked. And that worked despite the fact that the game rule says that we're now in a perpetual storm. There we go. Just checking to see that we actually could see it and whatnot. I'm gonna turn that to like 5. Because I need to check if that's... if we didn't see the lightning because it was off for other things. And also, did it get stored? Did that value... Yeah, it got stored. So you have to, like, reboot for a brand new character. You think I have the brain cell? Oh, I have very bad news for you. I have such bad news for you. Does Fuzz have the brain cell? Most days. Most days. Not all days, but most of them. Okay, so I just need to make sure that we can actually see the lightning that gets called down. Because there's not much point of us having lightning be spawned if we can't actually see it. Just gotta twiddle around for about 25 seconds. What's the plural of Kirin? Kirin's, Kirinai? Is it like sheep and Kirin is also the plural? We definitely heard that, but we did not see it. So I wonder if we have to add it as a weather effect. I also wonder if lightning should happen every time that gets stored. Which is also a thing that we can do by just changing up in here. Mayhaps.
You live in a different world.
Let's leave that out for the moment at the very least. Lightning spawns every single time you like level up in the Kirin Pact in the sort of like to like the power of Grayskull kind of moment. It's like, I've leveled up my magical my Maho Shoujo powers, lightning bolt. Doesn't help that you have your computer volume at 88 to drown out Grandma's show. Oh dear, what is she watching? That is so loud. Okay, so let's try the add weather effect then. See, like if that's adds a lightning bolt to the list of lightning bolts in the world. Okay. Oh, hang on, lightning bolt actually has a separate thing in here. Ah, and that is add weather effect, not just spawn. Interesting. Hecked up, if true, but interesting. Okay, and if I go into the config over here. Let's see, Varrod, Pacts. There's this. If I just delete that, we'll get the Kirin Pact as well. And then I can actually change up which endgame uses what. So, if id.get resource path dot equals ignore case fey witch. That should mean that we can get two different packs with different endgames. Hey, Espa. Magical ghost style warlocks, your favorite kind? Yeah. Marsh, we have, well, Espa, we have in fact tied the changelings directly to the pacts now. So the pact endgame that you can set for the witch keeps track of wherever you leveled up your pact, and then at the end, it places currently sea lanterns and also spawns some changelings, which means it is a hair's breadth away from being full-blown placing the changeling hives. Like, literally, I could get that going right now, but it would cause a massive mess and we still have other things to fix. But that's there. Okay, so which pacts were initialized there? Legend pack from config JSON Feywitch, apparently. I don't see. Interesting. Let's check that config again. Do I not have one in here? Nope. That could be why. Need Faye Kirin. Most of the data in there currently is completely, like, bunk. Drop the mating do episode you're talking about in the clubhouse. Okay, thank you. Just trying to make sure that we have two separate endgames here. So when you first boot up, it generates these, it puts those defaults cloned into there, which allows us to actually have default values for them that we can stick in there, which is JSON as opposed to a config file. Which is good because otherwise it would be kind of weird and confusing and a little hard for people to actually get into. So yeah, there we go, there's Kirin. You watch the bloopers at least twice as often as the regular episodes. I mean, yeah. That's just sort of how things go. Okay, Fey Kirin, Fey Witch, good. So now if we drink out of the flask of liquid ozone, which starts the Kirin, pact, we should actually get that correct, we should get the correct consequence. So, ozone. Yes, it's... Did I could have sworn I'd, already updated that texture. Hang on a second. Thinking about the time Fuzz and Lang did a heckin' spooch on camera, I swear that's happened a few times by this point. There we go. Fairly simple flask, but... Looks fine! Also, Yep. I cannot drink this for some reason. Despite the fact that that should be very much what this does. Well, duly noted. Okay. I think there was a... I could have sworn there was a packed command, but apparently I've not gotten it just yet. Right, that makes this a little bit more tricky, but I should be able to manage. So give at P, deviled egg, 1, 0. Because packed items have MBT data that we should hopefully be able to actually manipulate here. So if I say, give me a deviled egg, 1, 0, packed, and that should be Far Odd Fakirin. That should be good, okay. We'll find out in a hot second if I got the right one. Yep. Fakirin is now taking over. Good! This is gonna hurt, I just realized that. Now we see the lightning. Okay. Apologies for the noise. In actual gameplay, it probably will not spawn all within like a 15 block area. But there you have it. Okay, looking good. Let's clear that weather up, shall we? And also, that actually showed us the lightning bolts, which is good. That's what we wanted to see. So I guess it's, yeah, that's a weird distinction, that most entities are spawned, but lightning bolts are weather effect, are added as weather effects when you slash summon them. There we go. In actual gameplay, you'd have weather off. Yes, that too. There we go, all clear. Let me just check something here. We're getting a lot of people dropping in and dropping like links to buying followers, primes, and viewers, and it's just like, what would be the point exactly? Like, followers have absolutely no like economic benefits on Twitch. Prime, I can only imagine that's expensive, but also if you don't keep it going, then you'll get like you'll spend money, have a boost in revenue, and then it will plummet again. And viewers, they'll just move you up in the rankings temporarily, but people still come and find out you're boring, and you're gonna go away. That's a weird thing. Very, very strange indeed. But okay, so what we just did there was we had the Kirin Pact. If I grab a regular deviled egg, then we will start the Witch Pact, the Fey Witch Pact, and that should, just currently, it will currently only set a bunch of sea lanterns around. So what we're looking to see here, yep, there we go, is that we have two separate pact endgames. Well, two separate pacts with distinct endgames. Okay, and last one. Perfect. Although I will note that's a lot of places. Probably because I didn't clear the pact log first. Okay, that's a thing we need to do. Let's clean up a little bit. And then we can also find out why I can't drink out of that flask. I mean, it's liquid ozone, you theoretically wouldn't want to, but... There. So glad they've made moderator jobs easier instead of having to figure out the mute command. We can just hit a button in channels that were moderators on, of course. I mean, yeah, there's that. But also we just have Moobot. Moobot still sits on people just as well as they ever did. Actually, probably would it be worth just putting that in here, I wonder? Yeah, probably. There. Not every channel has a Moobot. True indeed, we are quite blessed in that manner. Okay, so that fixes that. Why couldn't we drink from here? What happened there exactly? Let's open an item potion. So, was the item... No, the item use finish is right here, and that should be fine. Display name on right click, use action, duration. Those are all good, as near as I can tell. Let's have that. Ignore food. That might be it. That might have been it, come to think of it. Anyone remember what my hunger bar was like before we booted out the world there? Was it full? Was it not? Let me know. Was it not full? Okay. Can't remember. That's a hacking... That is definitely a hacking link there, Burra. Interesting. Well, good thing a good thing that I already built in the MBT data for custom pacts support. So... At least I know that part works. Okay, so we've gotten different pacts with different end games. So the next thing that we should try getting go... Let's think. What should be the next thing? Could it be Lightlings? It's the playlist, not just the episode. Oh, right. Okay, I see. I see. What can I do for another hour? Well, let's see if I figured something out in the next 10 minutes. Let's do that. Alright, welcome back everybody. How are we? So I might have found out why we couldn't use the starter for the Kirin Pact? I think. I'm not 100% certain. Because can use starter is called here, and I think that might be relevant. Might be. But like there's item packed drink is what it's used for, is what is used for the flask of ozone. And then item packed food is what is used for the is what is used for the deviled egg. Can't ignore hunger. So food stats. I mean, if we're already like ignoring hunger anyways, then we don't probably need that at all. Which case these are basically identical, except that they have different enum actions, which is fine. So let's see if we can actually try that now. There isn't currently any kind of packed starting item that is just right click and it does, but there's yeah, that's something we're built for. So we can have food, we can have drinks. It's just a matter of what you need really to start the start the thing. And of course there's other things that are just theoretically you run a command or whatever. Marsh is a snack? Absolutely. Oh wait, no, I said an, not am, sorry. I mean, it's still true, but bleh. Okay, so there's the flask of liquid ozone. Grand, it works. It suddenly works perfectly. So now we should be able to go through both of these packs. Are you okay, Pura? And do I have weather sounds turned off? Yes, I do. Okay. So any volume is unavoidable now. We should be good. Okay, about to go. Grand. There, did the thing again. Curse you, Rain, for beating me to the literal punch. Do I know what that actually means? I don't know to what you are referring. Okay, and egg. Just gonna chill around over here. This should mean that we don't have more than 5 sea lanterns popping up. Owe you a new pair of ribs? I couldn't afford ribs if I wanted to. Grand. Okay. Perfect. So we can go between the two different pacts by eating the different items. Perfect. A little more in. There we go. What, calling someone a snack? That they're small and adorable? I don't know. What does it mean? And of course, yes, good. Just the jib changeling down there. Yeah. At least you're warm. At least you're staying warm, Jib the changeling. Ribs in this pandemic. Okay, so we still got like we've still got most of an hour left. Yeah, Fake Karen, Fake Witch, perfect. Yay, good. Now, if you change your pact at a given level to something else, then we also need to go through and remove any rewards that you got. Any relevant rewards, I guess would be the phrase. That won't be every possible reward, because we can't necessarily rescind items, we can't necessarily undo commands that were run, that kind of thing, but we can take away special powers and whatnot that you were given by virtue of the rewards. So that's a thing that we need to do. So in that event, let's go to the point where we actually just set the pact entirely up here. Or is it this one? This one, I think. Okay. So if this dot pact level is, or this dot get pact does not equal null, I guess. So just as we had our add reward, well, I'll give rewards, we need to take rewards, essentially. It's not going to do anything right now because we don't actually have anything that does stuff that we can rescind easily, but, you know, there's that. Yeah, there's only an apply currently impact rewards. Pretty much everything currently just defaults to having none, because that's all I got in here. But okay, so we got that through, got that done, fixed that, yes. We have two separate different kinds of endgame. You will be able to determine which endgame a given pact works with, if any. So that should be good. So let's make a lightling, I guess. I don't have much else for you guys tonight. This has gone uncharacteristically smoothly, even with me spending like half an hour. Means you think they are cute in a you like them kind of way usually. Oh, okay. Like, or just like? Don't get too excited, Marsh. These are not going to be very complicated. Just gonna throw these together real quick. Okay, so then there's that, and There's a thing for when you take damage that I'm trying to remember what it is. Attack entity from. There we are. There, so they're immune to lightning damage, which will be significantly useful for them. Okay, so you need difficulty instance, and I enter living data. Mob effects, fire resistance. There. So when they spawn, they have fire resistance, which means they will not be set on fire by the lightning bolt that spawns them. And they are also immune to lightning damage. Good. What program do I use for coding, if I can ask? This is Eclipse. It is freely available. It is highly configurable and very, very robust support group. You can, in fact, I'm currently using Java code for this, but you can also use various other types of code, and I'm also currently using a dark mode, so that my eyes bleed less after 3 hours staring at stuff here. Generally, I think it would be more a case of you would call fuzz a snack. Okay? Like an I date them kind of way. Oh, gotcha. Okay, right. Okay, client proxy. Right now, we should just see very small little cubes. Let's see if that's the case. Should there be, like, there's currently multiple kinds of changeling. Should there also be multiple kinds of lightning? Is the distinction of what kind of lightning a lightning is based on the number of eyes or some other factor? People who code in light mode are terrifying. I mean, they exist. They've existed for decades, in fact. It's horrifying. Utterly horrifying. Okay, let's see if we can get some lightnings going. Yep, just a cube. Currently just a cube. So hi, how are you? They're literally just a cube because they have no renderer associated, so they're free to just do about anything. When you find out that YouTube and Twitch has dark mode, hello, my eyes are saved, yeah. Are you gonna move? That's the next question. You should have AI. Not much AI, but AI. Hello? Probably need to, like, give it some more AI. But yeah, it's extended from Oddity. Oddity should have some stuff in it. Swimming. Move towards restriction. Yes. Watch closest. Look idle. Should have a wonder. This little guy should be happy to move around. Just isn't currently. Let's see, is there anything that was missed out? No. Don't see anything going wrong in the log. Whoops. And away they go. Finally. Twitch chat gets hyped about Cube. Cube, 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 cube. Oh yeah. Okay, kindly. I'm sorry. Nonetheless. Okay. So if I do a summon Lightling. Oop, unable to summon. Oh, right, yes. Lightlings? There we are. And I try to set you on fire, because such is testing. Okay, I guess it's only when you natural spawn. Gotcha! I need to test this, or else they will be set on fire by their own spawning, like their own spawning event. I'm sorry. It is unavoidable. Should I add that in the NC needs then, maybe? Or I could give them flame resistance when they're struck by lightning damage. But that would depend upon which happened first, I guess. So if they naturally spawn, they'll get that, and what's the value here? 10? I don't know. Duration, okay. Make that 20 then. For a second. Or no, let's make that 100. 10 seconds. Like that's 5 seconds. Okay. Next step. I mean, ideally these guys could fly, but in which case I should probably be more or less fucking code off with skulls, come to think of it. Like, should we have lightlings be like on the ground or floating around, or both? Should they be like the ravens? I mean, no. You like Britannia pixies? Oh god, it's been ages since I've seen Britannia. Okay, and summon... Wait, nope, come back. Don't run towards the enclosure. Okay, fine, I can do this better anyways. Execute at E, type. Lightling. Summon lightning bolts. What do you do? Guessing that wore off then. Cube wants to meet Witch. Lightlings and changelings should absolutely be hostile to one another. Like, that's a definite fact. Yep, so it didn't take damage from that, and it didn't take damage from the fire until that happened. So, yeah. Okay, so what's next here? Next would be an actual model, I suppose. But it's fine. We also need to, like, figure that out. I'm trying to think, we could make it turn off the fire, like, effect, I guess. There's that. On living update, I think that would be... Cube just wants friends, yeah. Polygamy void on entity update. If... Let's see, potion active. We'd like to have a lightling in a terrarium, with which take in a renegade lightling. Define renegades. Trying to feed. On fire from lava, set fire, can render, is immune. There should be a value for how long we're on fire, surely. One who defect. I mean, you don't. I feel like there needs to be more context involved there, Barra. Okay, fire. Where is the fire part? Don't tell me it's private, so nobody can reference it. Dang it. Why? Okay, we theoretically at least can extinguish, there's that. Except that was specifically on client side. Want a lightning and you'll name it Cube. Feel free. What does that do exactly? Just sets fire to 0. Okay. "15 seconds is fire from lava. Presumably, there is a thing. Oh no, there is in fact nothing inside the block. The blocks of fire are in fact not the least bit responsible. Interesting. Is foul within, deal foul damage. Okay, 8 seconds it has there. I should up that to 15. Just to be on the safe side. So if it's struck by lightning, it gets 15 seconds of fire resistance, meaning it will not take damage from fire. If that potion is still active, then it should be constantly trying to extinguish itself. So now the lightlings shouldn't, should be able to get out of that fire. Alternatively, I can just also make them immune to fire damage. There's that, which would probably be the much easier way. Teach me to mod? Oh god, that would take me ages. Not because it's like you, but because it would take actual ages to teach anybody to code. But I learned this just by tinkering, so figure that much out and you can pretty much carve your own path on it, more or less. Okay. Once again, at E, at E, type equals Varrod. Lightning. Summon lightning bolt. And you're not even on fire. Good! There shouldn't be anything that causes you to be on fire for longer than 15 seconds. So as long as they move out of the fire, eventually, they'll be fine. I think I like that part, that they're, that they show up and there's like that little effect. That's okay. Glad the chat went wild over the cube. But okay. So now we got that. Let's tie that in with our end game. So similarly to the changelings, but instead of just spawning lightning bolts, we're also going to spawn a few lightlings. Love is stored in the cube. Aww. Okay, and we don't actually need the random offset for them because they can just happily spawn directly in the lightning bolt. Now, we've tried to detect lightning bolts before, and there's no event for them, and since they skip the standard entity spawning event, they also can't be detected that way. The reason we were trying to get them before, by the way, was so we could detect thunder and use that to like spook our wargs and our wargs, I think it was, because they're skittish because they're abused, that kind of thing. Which was really, 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 really sad, but also like incredibly adorable. Like, oh, they're puppies that don't like the sound of thunder, but nonetheless. But yeah, so we can't necessarily spawn lightlings whenever there is lightning bolts. We can spawn them from special events otherwise, though. Ask for prayer, if a lightling ran away from or fought against Kieran and was orphaned, would Witch take them in? Probably. Spawn lightning bolts? I mean, yeah, I could theoretically make a special lightning bolt that we spawn and it just spawns lightlings wherever it strikes. Slight problem that would artificially increase the volume of lightning bolts that happen. So, whilst we could necessarily call that to be like an expectable side effect, might be a bit much. Like that seems, whilst that might be an acceptable, like understandable, reasonable consequence of completing the Pact of the Lightning Lord, But okay, so we do the thing, and it spawns a lightning bolt at the location, and from there it spawns, like, 2 to 3, I think that is, lightlings. Okay. Let's see, world's difficulty. Instance is what we want for the position. And I'll just make that. And I should already have something like that up here as well. I'll even reinstate the chain things, why not? Kieran gets another title. Kieran's always been the Lightning Lord. Kieran is an archfey of many facets. But the first and foremost is lightning. "100% the Affinity though? Yeah, I guess. And we should also set the reputation with the lightlings up here as well. Which currently has no effect whatsoever, because these things are very dim. But, you know, Kieran has always been the Storm Sage? Yeah. And then they broke the affinity, after which busted the well cover. I mean... Okay. So now, if we drink the flask... Start the quest. 1 second, sir. I need to. Sorry. If we drink this, we'll start the thing, and then we'll start marking the positions, and then it'll tick all the way through. Just gonna wait. We should see a ton of lightlings. Fairly soon. There we are. And there are indeed lightlings around. Hooray! Kindly get out of the fire, everybody. Good. So there we have it, lightlings. Yay! Bunch of lightlings, everybody. They eventually broke the affinity near the end of the hallway? Oh. My memory certainly did not recall that. Mini cube. I should set the ones that spawn from that to actually be like persistent as well. Try to remember how to do that. Can despawn, is no despawn required, does entity not trigger pressure points? That should definitely be a thing I set on them. What if they could summon lightning? They will definitely be using lightning as a weapon. Like when they're aggroing on people who are trying to mess up the forest. Could just keep them as white cubes. Yes and no? Yes and no. For one thing, they don't rotate at all. Which is... For another thing, I feel like they probably should glow in the dark. Like, they of all things should probably glow in the dark. But okay, right. Got a couple more minutes here. Let's see what else I can do. Let's also refactor that so it doesn't still say changeling. There isn't going to be an Eden weather type, is there? No, because it's all just different values. Ugh. Damn! That could have been so helpful. Oh well. Okay. So then it would be set weather world info world.rand thunder. Do we have any other use of that? No, we don't. So currently that just only sets thunder, but I can change that a bit later. Keep one and name it cube. What is plugin? No, this is mod. This is singular mod. It is heavily, heavily in development, to say the least. And there is a curse page for it, so 1 second. There you go. Okay. So when you finish the Witch Pact, it sets a whole bunch of rifts and spawns a whole bunch of changelings. When you finish the Kirin Pact, it spawns a bunch of lightning, sets it to a thunderstorm, and spawns a bunch of lightlings. I'm seeing a pattern here, but that will not necessarily always be the case. The Rat Friends works. I mean, yeah, the Rat Friends are nice. They work pretty well. You just have to keep them out of the bad influence of the giant rats, who will basically take a leadership position over them. But okay, so... yeah, let's actually set these lightlings to not despawn. If I can remember how that is done. Item name tag? Enable persistence. That's the thing. Okay. Don't know why that's not a more thorough value, but okay. Rats were rats. With the morph mod, sure. Or more player models at the very least. Yes, you can be a rat. Okay. So let me just... command weather. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay, don't need those lines. Refactor that back. giant rat that makes all the rules? Yeah. And replace these little eyes with time. Which is a weird sentence when you think about it. Replace these little eyes with time. Okay. Right, there we go. Got a quick little helper function to just set whatever thing we like. Was it ever figured out why Varad and Famcraft clashed? With what specific bug? To be precise here. Because the answer was, I've seen a couple of different bugs from Famcraft, and a fair few of them were just Famcraft didn't implement something properly. All you know is that it kept crashing. Don't know of anything specific. Like, I know the rats have caused some crashes because they tried to nibble on something that had a tilency that didn't properly exist, as it were. I know the phylactery system recently had a reported bug, which was when it was trying to ask a Famcraft thing for its, like, if it was an empty inventory thing. When Nees was testing it, it's why the Patreon pack doesn't have Famcraft. I don't know if that's still the case, at the very least. Most probably, I'm gonna say it was something unavoidable that Famcraft was doing wrong. A lot of different times where mods, where other mods cause crashes with various oddities, it's because they've implemented something with an interface from vanilla, but they haven't actually given a proper result from that function. So, for instance, one of the vanilla functions for inventories is empty, which is meant to say, is there any item stack actually in your inventory space? A lot of mods don't actually implement that properly, so consequently we end up with a null pointer that ends up from the code inside of inside of the other mod, which is not much I can do about. At least with the phylactery system you can turn that off and it won't go through it and try it at all, but can't do that for necessarily everything, but we try, because more compatibility, grand. More people that can use the monster manual of Minecraft, as it's called, grand. So, do we want to set the weather when you manage to change things? Who knows? Just gonna add a new one here. So, public static final pact end game. What am I gonna call this one? Because I don't have a mob that comes at the end of this. Oh Christ, I've just thought of a really bad pun. What do you call the halberd the masterful halberd user who is famous for their parties? The Lord of the Lance. Been over a year since the current pack was made and tested, and Varad went through at least 2 full updates, probably. Yeah, a bit. I need to update that at some point. Really. Let's go for, like... bleh. Might as well. I am the Lord of the Lance, said he. And I bid you all, wherever you may be, and I'll bid you all in the dance, said he. Gods, that's a flashback and a half. Jesus. Just, wow. I just had a flashback to, like, year 6 of my school education. Oh. Ow. Brain, why? Yeah, for those of you who don't know, here in the UK, we're ostensibly a Christian nation, not that we really show it or do much about it. And one of the side effects of that is that during school, like primary levels, I'm gonna say pre-high school, I think is about the range for US viewers. We have what are called assemblies, which is just get everybody into a big, usually a sports hall, and the headmaster gives like some news and whatnot that's going on, and then you sing choir songs. You sing like hymns and whatnot. And Lord of the Dance is a fairly common one. And my brain apparently just summoned that entirely out of nothing, because I don't think I've had to remotely even think about that in an age. Ow. Should I just give a world? Because I keep getting a world anyways. So let's see, we want set weather, world, world info. And then we want world.rand, and we want some clear. There. Well, the dance is a hymn. I mean, it's a song at the very least. We sing a lot of them in those assemblies. So yeah, real quick, there's just the Phoenix one. So if we wanted to create a fuzz-based pact, we now have the Phoenix, which will set the weather to clear quite happily. You know, nice and positive. I don't know what that Phoenix endgame, what the Phoenix pact would do and what the Phoenix endgame would do, but there's that. We can just set something interesting to happen when you max out that pact. There's a fair few pacts that I want to add just to give it a fairly decent level of variety. But that will be something I work on. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try and get the lightlings modeled and whatnot. Give them a bit more smarts for next week. Don't know exactly what I'll be working on next week, but we'll find out, I'm sure. My next stream is tomorrow at 7. We have some more Dungeons and Dragon hats, where we get to continue onwards, and hopefully I don't get turned into a molten pile of ash and metal. We'll see. Then on Thursday at 9, we have some Monster Hunter World, and we have some more Vampire on Friday at 9. Meanwhile, of course, on Saturday we have more Dungeons and Dragon hats at 7, finding out if the party can actually bring down this weird poison ghoul zombie thing. And then followed by the carousel of some random games. We'll be back for more of this on Tuesday. Otherwise, I do make videos over youtube.com/remembercomic. It's in the banner. And everything I do, especially right now, where the benefit system and such is massively overwhelmed by all of the people who suddenly have to sign up to it, and even people like me aren't getting their payments. Everything I do is paid for by you guys at Patreon at patreon.com/lying. Other than that, hope you've all enjoyed. Have a lovely evening. I'll catch you all as ever next time.